Chazal that I think we're quite familiar amongst these Parshiot and Parshat Vayishlach and Parshat Toldo. Halacha, Esav Soneh Et Yaakov. We all know that Esav is a tremendous sinner for Yaakov. It's a continuous basis that is on it, and that is the source and the root of all our anti-Semitism. The problem is that there's a Gemara in Shabbat on Daf Peichet. The Gemara in Shabbos on Daf Peichet says that the reason why Har Sinai is called Har Sinai when we receive the Torah is because Sheyarda Sin'ah Leumat Olam. The Sinah came, hatred came to the Umat Olam, to all the nations upon us, but in the time when we received the Torah, that they were jealous of us, that they were upset, and because of the Torah, now they all hate us. So this is a chronological discrepancy. There's a certain problem here. When did this occur? Did this happen during the time of Esav, which was way before, many decades and years before Har Sinai, or did it happen later on in the time of Har Sinai? The answer is that Rav Zelig Epstein, the previous Rosh Hashiva of Torah V'Dat, has a beautiful understanding that there are two different types of anti-Semitism that we witness amongst us from all the generations. He says the first type of anti-Semitism is one that comes from hate, that they're jealous of us. We call ourselves Am Segulinikers, we think we're special, we act different, we do things in an unusual way, and therefore they hate us, meaning, and the siman to know, what's the sign to know that it's this type of anti-Semitism? It comes with reasoning, it comes with svarot, it comes with understandings, it comes from a purpose. They come from a certain place of just not liking us for who we are. That is the anti-Semitism that was Sheyarda Sina Leumat Olam. That's when it happened by Har Sinai, when we received the Torah, and we separated ourselves from the rest of the Goyim, so suddenly everybody hated our guts. Masha'en Kain, but second type of Sinah, it says, Rav Zelig Epstein, it's a different type of Sinah. That's a Sinah in the DNA. There's no reason. It's bli tam. It's the essence of the fact that we exist. That's where the anti-Semitism comes from. It's a Sinah that is intrinsic. It's like water and fire, esh v'mayim, that they never can be mistader together. They can never handle each other together, and that is the sin of halacha. Esav Soneh Et Yaakov. That's what Rabbeinu Yerucham in Dat Torah writes in Parshas Toldot. This concept, the fact that Esav is an intrinsic hate, it's an everlasting hate. It doesn't have to have any reasons behind it. It's there just because it's there. And the Ran says in Drashot in Drush Bet, a beautiful Ran over there, he actually writes that that's why Esav is up, Israel is down. When we're up, they're down. We never can be parallel. Lum yamatz. We never are on the same place. We're never in par. Or we're always in a scale that one's up and one's down. We're never in the same place. You also find that Lamashal, Amalek, as we all know, hates us because they hate us. They hate us and they curse us and they jump on us and they try to take advantage of us for no reason. Just because we are us. Just because a Jew is a Jew, they want to get rid of every type of Jew that exists. As opposed to Balak. Balak hired Bilam to curse us. Why? As the Psukim already tell us, he had a fear. He was in trepidation. This is a territorial problem. It was all about a milchama, a fight, because he was worried about, he was going to lose his territory. He was worried about being killed. I'm not saying it's reasonable, but somewhat reasonable why he would go ahead and try to hire someone to get rid of us. Because it came from an actual fear. As opposed to Amalek is not like this. We're here in Rosh Chodesh during the time of Kislev, and we all know the Yavanim, the Greeks, but what are the Greeks about? They did not like us. They just didn't like that we made ourselves separate, that we kept making the discrepancy between us and them. They wanted to be mityaven, just become one of them. They didn't need to dafka get rid of us. They just wanted us to stop being different with all our chokhmat, as opposed to Ampurim with Haman, who was the source of Amalek, as opposed to Amalek, that they're there just to get us just because. There was no reason. You hate Mordechai? Get rid of Mordechai. What do you have to go ahead and say, Lashmid, Ula'arog, Ula'abed? Why do you have to go ahead and get rid of each one for who they are? In Germany also, as we all know, they not only got rid of Jews just to get rid of them, but they shot themselves in the leg. Even Einstein, they were chasing after him to try to get a hold of him. They got rid of his family, and they didn't realize that he was an absolute asset for them. They would have been able to get the A-bomb from him. The amount of damage that they did to themselves by killing Jews came from an intrinsic hatred, a hatred that lies in the DNA of Germany, a DNA that lies in the Western world that are the Yorshim, that are the inheritors of Esav. They couldn't handle it. Even the Arabs, so to speak, that not to give them any type of credit for their craziness, but so to speak, they come from a certain ideology, a reasoning. This is our land. This really belongs to us. Of course, they stole it from us. That's never been in Palestine. There never has been in Palestine until 20 years after the development of the state. And then they decided to make a place. But it came from a certain ideology, a certain type of reasoning, as opposed to one that's not. And this, I think we can understand, is so relevant in our day and age right now. When when the ICC go ahead, the Grand Court of the UN is going ahead and convicting Netanyahu and Gallant, are going ahead and telling them that you guys are criminals of war, an incredible thing, without saying for 1 minute to go ahead and release hostages, and not say giving any type of collateral type of psak, any type of initiative in this conviction, just going in and doing it. And it's sometimes very frustrating, it's irritating, it's almost depressing, but it's not surprising. For those of us who know Jewish history, for those of us who know around, there's nothing very surprising about it, because the hatred is in the DNA. Even though there doesn't have to be reasoned, it's fine. After September 11th, Afghanistan was ripped to pieces. They absolutely annihilated city after city. There were whole cities that were actually destroyed, kimat, by the Americans, and no one was poitze piu mitzavtef. No one opened their mouth. No one said anything. And suddenly over here, they're telling us to beat it, to stop, to get rid of it. When we're somewhere else, they tell us go to Palestine. We're in Palestine, they say jump in the sea, from the river to the sea. All trying to get rid of us. Like I said, it's depressing, it's upsetting, it's annoying, this circus that they're going ahead and doing these things, but at the same time we know it's not surprising. This is the halakha that we learned today. It's a halakha, it's not a garita, it's not hashkafa. Halakha Esav Soneh Et Yaakov. It's in the DNA, we've been around, we know what it's for, and it's only because of the greatness of who we are. Yes, Klal Yisrael has been a hated figure for many times, but we should realize and appreciate it comes from the greatness of being B'ni B'chor Yisrael.